winner of this match will be out ahead. The key difference here is Fat Rabbit are riding on this game because they are up against the Saigon Jokers next, whereas Hanoi Fuluist are up against the Jakarta Juggernauts.
That's right. And of course, the Jakarta Juggernauts, as we saw in our first match of the day, still yet to pick up even a draw. So definitely you could say the cards are stacked against the Fat Rabbits, even if they pick up this victory. I think that'll even add to their hunger though, knowing that they have a tougher opponent later on. They really want to not only, take this victory, but, really win it on a high note, convincingly, as smashing as possible, if you could say.
Well, as J-Storm just put it to me as well, Fat Rabbit, if they win this game, they will at least go to tiebreakers with Hanoi Fuluist.
It's true.
If they go 1-1, they need to at least take a game off the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas if they go 2-0 today and take a game off the Saigon Jokers, they will instantly qualify for the next stage in GPL.
Okay, so it looks like they have very targeted bans coming in here. Azir, Sivir. Looks like they're banning away more of a compositional strengths that they might be going up against. The zone control from Azir, the Zerg power of Sivir. Whereas on the other side, HFL banning away just really, you could say, power picks. Also,
Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia, she really came into the spotlight in 5.1. People are still saying she's strong in 5.2. So it looks like HFL doesn't want to tangle with the Snake Lady whatsoever.
The snake is broken. Don't touch her. The snake is broken.
Alright. There I mean, if you played it yourself, you would know. I've toyed around it for a few times as well. Fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Broken snake. Lysandra being banned out here by Team Fat Rabbit, and Thresh finally being taken away by Hanoi Fuluist. This leaves Gnar and Jarvan both open, which Team Fat Rabbit look like they want to pick out Jarvan right off the bat. Hanoi Fuluist might respond with a Gnar pickup here to prevent the Gnar-Jarvan combo that we see quite a lot.
That's right. I mean, of course, infographics from our pregame would show you Jarvan so often picked up in the first rotation of picks, if not just banned away. And of course, like you said, I think Gnar is very, very contested. I would fully expect really for Hanoi Fuluist to take that away. As you said, the Narvan combo, really something that teams have gotten used to, as both Narvan and Jar have seen more than enough competitive play across multiple regions.
That's right. On top of that, Hanoi Fuluist to have the option of picking up Janna here, which does very well in the current meta, especially against Jarvan. However, they swapped over last minute for Lee Sin here, a very strong jungler. We're going to have to see if Calvin can play with Jarvan and jungle. I'm not sure. D-Dan has played Lee Sin in the GPL once, as your stats do show, with the first game they played. He has favored Jarvan a lot more. I do think Fat Rabbits would not want to pick up Jarvan in the top lane. Wow, Nar's actually left open here.
This is very interesting coming up from Hanoi Fuluist.
They're going to pick up Janna and what seems to be a mid-tier attack damage carry right now, which is Lucian.
Yeah, this is, wow, I must say, puzzling coming out on the side of Hanoi Fuluist. Janna, I can understand, really brings just so much flexibility to a team, but Lucian, as you, I think, really very aptly describing it as mid-tier in the current meta. Really questionable, you have to say, from Hanoi Fuluist, because this will really give, honestly, 3 power picks for the price of just 1 on the side of Hanoi Fuluist.
Hanoi Fuluist, they want to pick up Annie here. Annie's been banned out quite a lot in competitive League of Legends right now. Graves, I would say, is one of the top tier attack damage carries.
For sure.
But they're going to swap out for Corki here. Corki had a huge power spike recently. But I feel like Graves is a lot stronger pick, and they are going to lock that one in. I mean, we did see how Team 8 were able to turn around team fights with Jarvan, Malphite, Orianna, and Graves. It's just a messy combo, and like we were talking about before, Graves just one of those all-round AD carries.
Game number 1, I think you broke down a lot of the mechanics for our viewers. Graves just really so strong in the current meta. And of course, just looking over at some of the statistics from Shin's side on Hanoi Fuluist, picking up the Lucian in the first rotation of picks. This guy has not played Lucian in GPL competitively. Again, he is, I think Lucian, of course, is in his roster of champions, as any AD carries would be. But again, just his competitive experience on that. Is that really worthy for a first rotation of picks? I really want to see his performance now, because he's going up against, the Annie, where it'll be like flash jumping on you, and then the burst that'll come in from Graves on top of that. Oh man, I worry for this guy. Yeah.
Team Fat Rabbit, they seem to be setting up a very nice AoE bursty combo, the Wombo combo that a lot of people like to call it. Gnar being hovered over here. for Jokebot. I'd be very interested to see if Jokebot will be picking up Gnar in the top lane. He, in fact, is one of the people that taught me how to play League of Legends, so it's very interesting whenever I get to watch him play.
Senpai
Jokebot up the top lane.
Pressure's on then.
Let's see who PandaPaws should be picking up for the mid lane here. They're hopping over Ahri. We saw the impact of the changes to Ahri.
Yeah.
The Q giving him such a huge boost of movement speed. I actually like the Ahri pickup here, although they do have a lot of bursts coming in from the Gnar Jarvan combo, the Annie, the Graves.
There you go.
Ahri doesn't fit in as nice as an Orianna would, but the reason why I like Ahri being picked up here for Team Fat Rabbit is it gives you that extra diversity to your team comp. You have that one champion that can just dart around, get the charms off, deal damage to a single target very nicely, and evade a lot of the skills coming in from Hanoi Phil Lewis. So you have 4 members of your team that are just trying to burst down as many people as they can, and then Ahri trying to pick off the stragglers very nicely. For Lewis though, they've come up with a very interesting draft as well.
I think it's right to say that the strengths of the Fat Rabbits really jump out of the page at us, right?
Yes,
every single champion has such strong has such strengths that engage. You know, the moment they jump on you, you really have to be able to survive the first 2 or 3 seconds of it. And I think that's where the interesting composition, strengths of the Hanoi Phil Lewis team come out. They have the ability to not only reset the fight with Janna, they've got the team reduction, the team-wide reduction from Maokai's ultimate. And on top of that, if all the cooldowns have been expended and you survive the first round or so, and Lucian isn't dead, he'll be very, very safe at the back line. And that unleashes King of War on his LeBlanc to really return or, single out any one member that has overextended with the engage.
Something which I'm a little bit afraid of for Hanoi Phil Lewis here is, yes, they have all of that nice tankiness stats coming up from Maokai, the Monsoon as well to heal up your teammates.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're coming into this game with a lack of damage. Janna doesn't give your team much damage because a lot of heal, a lot of shielding, a lot of crowd control, and helps your team out with mobility too. Shin playing Lucent here, I mean, the double strikes will help a lot in terms of damage output, but it's not going to deal as much as the Graves will throughout the game.
And it's, remember, first rotation, Lucian as well. So there's a lot of weight on this guy.
Yeah.
Not only to carry, but he's 50% of the team's damage, right?
On top of that, you're picking up Maokai, who's traditionally tanky, doesn't do too much damage, can throw a little bit of a little bit of AP, you could say, here and there, but it's not going to add too much. Whereas Calvin's picking up Lee Sin. Yes, Lee Sin is very strong early, but if you think about it, once you go past the laning phase, into team fights, he's not going to be dealing the damage that a Jarvan will to the team with the Flag and Drag combo into the Cataclysm. King of War kind of makes up for this, picking LeBlanc, that one bursty champion, pick someone off very nicely, blow them up, and then reset the team fight with all the resets that Hanoi Phil Lewis have. I'm still really like Team Fat Rabbit's team comp right now.
Yeah, let's not forget that this is the 5.2 patch as well. We've touched on the RA changes, but LeBlanc didn't get any changes, and she was one of those champions that, while you don't need the DFG in your inventory, if you did get it, pretty much anybody, even tanks, were a threat of being blown up. So without that item in the game, we'll have to see whether King of War still has that, see person, blow person up impact. And again,
see hero, kill hero.
Yeah, I mean, these 2 players, King of War and Shin, they are the 2 damage dealers on the side of Hanoi Phil Lewis. And I think you're right in saying that in terms of how the compositions stack up one to another, it's a numbers game. Jokebot on Gnar with his base damages does effectively serve as a damage source, as does D-Dan. So you're really talking about, 4 big damage sources on the side of the Fat Rabbit as compared to really only 2 on the side of Hanoi Phil Lewis.
I feel
it's going to be rough.
I feel that the early game is going to really dictate the flow of this match. We're going to have to watch how the bottom lane pans out for Hanoi Phil Lewis. I mean, Annie, Graves, very strong matchup to go against Lucin Janna. Lucin Janna, on the other hand, very, very good lane indeed. PandaPaws up against King of War, that's a very skill-based matchup. The Ahri against the LeBlanc. Calvin and Dina both playing very aggressive junglers. And Maokai, I believe, one of the few top laners that can actually do well against a Gnar. So very, very interesting. I think the early game is really going to matter here. I'm really happy to see Jokebot play in Ganson's games.
This is going to be, indeed, I think, a game where, if anything, the early game will absolutely be, so tense. Because while we talk about only 2 damage sources on the side of Hanoi Phil Lewis, if either of these, Lucian or LeBlanc, get a bit of a leg up in their lanes, they could absolutely take them over, right? Ahri, yes, while she has all that mobility on her side, you're talking about a LeBlanc.
Yep.
Double distortion in, you've got chains to control in Ahri, no problem at all. Likewise, Lucian, even though his numbers have been tuned down, he's going to get a lot of support when it comes to team fights. Maokai's going to be in your face, Lee Sin's going to be sowing all kinds of chaos, and Janna will be there for the reset. So
I really feel like Hanoi for Lewis here, they just don't have the power spikes that Team Fat Rabbit brings to the table with this team competition. Yes, they have all these great individual components of the team, but they just don't have that huge power spike that we see for Team Fat Rabbit. Team Fat Rabbit's team comp is nicely drafted. You have a whole chunk of one thing and a splash of another thing, which comes in the form of Ari.
Let's I think another way to put it to our viewers to just, you know, kind of encapsulate that strength of the competition is that they have access to one of the strongest combos out there, you know, the Narvin combo.
Yep.
But even if they didn't have that or they screw that up, they've got so many other options. They've got
Tibbers.
Flash Tibbers, you know, Ari can pick somebody off.
Yeah.
There are so many strengths, you know, so many different power spikes that they could hit. Whereas on the side of Hanoi for Lewis, it's like, if we can survive the initial seconds of burst, you know, maybe things will turn out right for us.
A little bit of trivia here. Like I said before, JokeBot's one of the people that taught me how to play League of Legends, so elaborate on that a bit. He used to be known as the Masya on the server. He joined a team called the Pokebots, or he was called Charmanderbot.
Ah, yes.
So when I was playing for a team named Zephyrus in Singapore, we used to train against the Pokebots all the time. And even with an old caster, Jehudi, we used to train against them, and he used to destroy us. Like, we'd go 0-10 over the course of a week, and they just do it again every week. They'd keep doing that, and finally after like 4 weeks we finally picked up a game against them.
If I'm not wrong, Charmanderbot used to play as the AD carry role.
Yep. He when we played against him, he used to be top lane. His Wukong top lane used to be a terror to us.
Yeah, I mean,
he used to play Jarvan top, he used to play Wukong top, all these crazy top laners. Then like you said, he changed his name, he became Charm, or Charmbot for a while, instead of Charmander, and played in the DLC for a while. Now he's in the GPL, he's the JokeBot.
Yeah, I had the joy or the honor of being on his team in solo queue once, and I remember he picked the Tristana, you know, who's known for just passively farming 25 minutes and then taking over games. And I remember him just typing something like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna hard carry this game," you know, something silly like that on Tristana, and everyone's like, "Don't be ridiculous." You know, he gets first blood at level 1 somehow, and really proceeds to steamroll the game. So this guy, mechanics and game knowledge through and through.
Another nice fun fact about JokeBot: he's probably the best brand player in Southeast Asia servers. I've never seen anyone able to zone someone out playing Brand at level 1. At level 1, he'd be behind the opponent's minions, zoning them.
That's fun stuff.
I've seen him destroy people doing that. So let's see.
Then he gets camped by the jungler and dies.
No. Jungler comes, they both die. Jungler and the mid laner will both die. I don't know how he does it. So let's see how he does in this top lane. Take a look so far what these two teams are doing. It's going to be D-Dan starting on the Gromp camp. JokeBot's going to help him out with that. Lee Sin's going to do the same. Violet's going to opt for the pump up your E, stack it on the Raptor camp, take that, hit level 2, teleport top lane. Very, very standard start, especially against ranged opponents, because you can pack a lot of health pots. Bring it to the top lane, and if you're feeling a little bit cheeky, hit level 2, go straight to 3.
And on the bottom side, we actually see Calvin here with a very, very early gank. Wow. On your minimap, you can see he was just poking his head in there. Looks like he did burn the flash of Pest Trap very early on. So Calvin already doing some work, burning a flash in the bottom side. He'll have the timer on that, 5 minutes to activate any kind of aggression on Pest Trap.
Importantly for Pest Trap, his heal is still available, and he was able to pop a pot. But Calvin's coming straight back around.
Look at this dedication.
Wow. If this fails for Calvin, he's going to waste so much time. And look at how safe Fat Rabbit are playing very, very nicely. Crazy Pine puts a ward in straight away to try and catch someone out. Lee Sin is going to go straight for the red buff. Jarvan looks like he's going to go straight for the red as well. Oh, he's actually going to go pick up Krug here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, D-Dan, you wouldn't think, I don't think anybody would think that Lee Sin would have poked his head in again. So I don't think he thinks that, you know, by going for the red, it's an option.
Lee Sin didn't take his blue, he just went straight Gromp gank. That's
strange. I thought I saw the blue buff around him.
No blue buff. His blue buff is still up. So Calvin has only taken one buff so far. So has Jarvan. Jarvan needs to react accordingly. In the mid lane, though, Panopause takes a bit of damage there.
And
in the bottom lane,
interesting.
Bottom lane to start off, we actually saw Crazy Pine charging up his stun, waiting in the second brush for Lucian and Janna to enter the lane to see if him and Pesha get some damage down.
Panopause must flash away from this.
Good juke, but King of War gonna pick up first blood onto Panopause there.
You know, that's the early game aggression we were saying about. LeBlanc as well as Ari, that one matchup can easily be swung by the influence of the junglers.
Yep.
Calvin, wow, I mean, really interesting start by him. Getting the level 2 just from the Gromp, and now only heading back to his team.
Yep, so that was very interesting for Calvin. Very risky play. Taking the Gromp, going for a bot lane gank, going straight back around to try and get another bot lane gank, which was interesting. And there's a huge chance that it wouldn't have paid off if he wasn't able to get the bot lane gank off, if he wasn't able to get the mid lane gank off, or if he didn't get the red buff. If D-Dan just decided, hey, today I'm going to take blue and go straight to red, he would have been in a really tight situation, really sticky situation, I could say. D-Dan has a smart play though, goes straight to red buff on the side of Hanoi Full Lewis's and is able to pick that one up. So at least D-Dan will stay even in terms of camps picked up.
Yeah, that's a good
drag.
Job by, oh man, almost locking down the tree right there, not quite catching him. A good job by the Fat Rabbits top laner as well as jungle to keep their head in the game, recognize that bot side as well as mid, they suffered a little bit. They go for a little bit back in the enemy's jungle. Didn't get any kind of deep wards down though, so Calvin will still be able to roam around his own jungle, find the early game plays. Panda Paws level 4 without his flash. Gotta be a little more careful than LeBlanc with her distortion up. I do expect a repeat gank, and you know, that's what we said. This is the one lane really. If they get the LeBlanc going, that is going to be Panda Paws not having the best time of it.
Great wards from Fat Rabbit though. They're going to see Lee Sin come down to this bottom lane. They'll see him also take. Wow, okay. Scuttle Crab immediately destroyed there. They will see. They will still see Lee Sin do this. They will know that Lee Sin's nearby, but the Stranger's still very,
they've got to
very
back
far
up
up.
right now. They've got to back up right.
They are going to back up.
Yeah, they should know.
So they're waiting every last second they can. Then they finally do back up. So they do see him come down. They still do see him take the scuttle, walk over to Dragon Pit. But they don't see him come through the wards that are near the bottom lane. So with that, they know that he's somewhere in the jungle. Instead, they back off. They know they pushed up very far. They back off and take progress instead.
And the interesting thing about the bot lane focus, you know, even from level 2, just after taking the Gromp and not even the blue buff is...
Oh no, D-Dan.
He's going to be walking over wards, so I don't think we'll see any action in the mid lane.
Oh,
but, you know, again, this brings to mind the first rotation Lucian pick, where, you know, you get focus from the jungler even before he secured a buff.
Uh-oh, and he's not in the bottom lane, though. Calvin might have a free pass for a gank here if Peschap doesn't back off. Where's Annie's going to ward? LeBlanc's coming down too. This might be a sticky situation for Peschap.
Oh, Peschap already popping his flash, or rather his heal does bounce some damage back their way.
LeBlanc.
Ooh, a nice stun by Crazy Pine.
Oh, does he get the kill? No, he doesn't.
That's away with
ridiculous.
Oh
no,
man.
Crazy Pine.
Yikes.
Yeah.
King of War, man, really stomping his dominance, living up to his namesake right there.
You can see what Crazy Pine was thinking there. He thought, okay, Lee Sin might be in the tri-brush. If I walk in right now, I might die. Instead, I'm gonna walk around, look at the jungle, take a peek, see if Lee Sin's doing anything funny inside here.
Yeah, I think he was trying to hit the wrap kick that time. You know?
Yeah, but the problem I have with that is he left Peschap all alone. If he wanted to do that, Peschap just said, okay, let's give away 18 minions, which he has now. Give away 18 minions for a little bit of safety, come back to the town, and he would have lived there, and it would have wasted LeBlanc's roam time. Yes, he would be down some minions, but it's not the end of the world. This is a huge detrimental advantage. A lot of people don't realize that the minion score is not all that matters in the bot lane matchup. The experience and the power spikes matter so much. Now, Peschap comes back to the lane with a Brutalizer, and we're going to see Shin come back with a BF Sword, Potions, and a Pink Ward. You know, on top of that, level advantage.
Suddenly that mid-tier AD carry... Yeah, it's like, mid-tier AD carry, nobody drafts that.
Did you remember, Lucian? Don't you remember what happened to me?
Yeah, it's like, oh man, you're gonna be feeling flashbacks. Did they actually nerf him? But you're right, you know, in terms of experience, level 6 is gonna be hit a lot faster too.
As the Chinese casters say, you just can't nerf Obama. He is the president. You can't do anything about that.
America's always relevant, bro. All right, so
Peschap is the outlaw in this situation.
We'll have to see, because it seemed like with the pressure that the bottom lane of the Fat Rabbits were facing, the answer was
Panda Paws taking a lot of damage in the mid lane. He's down to nothing right now.
Yeah. Oh man. You can
though.
really see. Oh
wow, D-Dan. Yeah,
that was even a little bit hard to track, because I thought D-Dan was going to get away from that. But oh man.
Panda Paws, Spirit Rush still available. Ignite still available, and Flash still available. Yes, he was taken down really low. If you know all of your abilities are still up, shouldn't T-Dan have just back out of that situation? Just got out of there, say, okay, all your stuff is still up. Let's try and do this again later. Let's not do that now. Let's not waste all of your abilities. Panda Paws doesn't waste it, but still it's a lot. Peschap in the bottom lane taking a lot of damage as well, down to almost nothing. Looks like he was laning 2-on-1 against Lucian and Janna there. And he had to run over to the mid lane, help out the mid laner.
This is a big worry for the Fat Rabbits, as with the LeBlanc disfed, you need to come to jungle support.
Yep.
And he has even been called in, but that of course means that your bottom lane is suffering from that. So Hanoi Fulu is really, really putting strength of the lanes they've got bad. Oh, fantastic from D-Dan to get the steal. Will they find any kills? Looks like they're getting members low on the side of Hanoi Fulu, but they don't have enough to really close in on any kills. Calvin actually goes in for this. Has to be careful. Crazy Pine will have his stun up in another rotation. Doesn't quite find it. Violet even here for the backup. So Hanoi Fulu,
that's good for Gnar.
That, you know, that's good in terms of Gnar going to be able to get a lot of experience and
he's going to get a lot of damage down. Needs to be a little bit careful of Lee Sin's timing on this red buff though. But
you have to really, you really have to start respecting Hanoi Fulu now. You know, coming out of the pick and ban phase with, you know, really what we said was looking to be a less than optimal pick and ban phase. But the way they played around it, knowing that, you know, the one lane they could get ahead that would sow a lot of chaos in this map, or in this match rather, is the LeBlanc. I mean, look at it, 4-0-0 now, and that's actually translated to, you know, bottom lane strength as well. So, you know, I think it's right of us to be critical in the ban phase when you go for the Lucian in your first rotation. But if you're gonna play around it like this, you know, all props to Hanoi Fulu for getting this lead. Oh man, be careful.
Shit. Jumping in, here comes Crazy Pine, no, gets the stun, no stun, here comes the stun.
Fantastic
that's
damage.
A lot of damage down on the Shin, he's gone.
That is fantastic. There comes the bounce, they just need one more boomerang to slow him down. Are they gonna go for the Damashian dunk? Can't quite find it, but a nice decisive reply from the Fat Rabbits to say, we're not gonna be pushed around for free right there. You can see the strength then of all the damage being unloaded, but nice juke by Vandapause.
They rush the wall into the stun. They rush out. That is a very strange fight. Oh, he goes for
dear!
It.
Oh man!
Here comes D-Dan. You can do it. No, doesn't do it. Yeah, that was a little game of bluff between the two mid laners, and Vandapause showed his hand way too early. Violet's gonna get so much damage on this top lane.
You know, interesting thing about King of War as well is that he used to play in the jungle role for Hanoi Fulu. In fact, from the statistics we have, it seems like...
So, he's gone from the least mechanically skilled role into the most mechanically skilled role.
Yeah, he's really, really having a crazy showing now on the LeBlanc. I mean,
5-0-0. Yeah, one of these teams is getting a Nagus of Legion this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. To his credit, Jokebot, as we were, you know, detailing his story early on, gone for the Hex Drinker, should still be able to remain very relevant in this game. And I think the Fat Rabbits, they still have the compositional strength in their favor. It's just, I think nobody really could have foreseen the LeBlanc getting this big and this much attention needing to be focused in the mid lane. Drawing so many members and so much attention, so many resources, if you will, from the Fat Rabbits into the mid side.
Will they do it? No.
They really shouldn't force this. You can see the ward line.
Bear's almost available. Flashes up.
Yeah,
they just don't know where LeBlanc is. Now they know.
Yeah, they only just caught vision of King of War as well as Calvin in the jungle. So nice bit of damage from Vandapause, but you can see the difference in terms of gold values. The 500 LeBlanc, 2,000 gold up on his lane counterpart.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of damage. No chains though.
Ooh, so the distortion has been used.
Does he have a charm? Does he have a charm? Charm will win the fight here.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of damage though.
You know, and every time that D-Dan has to show mid, that activates aggression.
Don't back
in
there.
the other lanes. Oh man.
Oh, he might win this fight now.
No, but yeah. No, but I was gonna say the real issue is that, you know, you see, it's not just the jungle that's sufficient. It's insufficient for just the jungler to come in. You're starting to see support. You're starting to see Jokebot come in. And then every other lane suffers because of that. Yes, I think we really have to call out Pesha for doing such a fantastic job staying relevant in terms of CS. Again,
it's very relevant right now.
You know, credit to turning around the aggression with the teleport play from the whole team.
So good news, I would say, actually, for Fat Rabbit right now is the only two players that are doing very well is King of War and Calvin. King of War, yeah, he's LeBlanc. A lot of people think that LeBlanc doesn't scale very well. LeBlanc actually scales very well into the late game. It's only when everybody hits 6 items. Everybody must be at 6 items. That's when LeBlanc's kind of like, it's a bit tougher for me now. Lee Sin, however, he's doing slightly better than Jarvan is, 0-0-4. but he's not going to be able to provide the utility Jarvan can. If Team Fat Rabbit find a way to shut down LeBlanc, stop him from executing somebody in their backlines, they'll be fine because all the other lanes are even.
Yeah, I fully concur, and 100% of the team kills on King of War. So really, you just need to catch him out of position once.
Exhaust,
get
please.
That shutdown bounty, exhaust him up.
Oh, this is not good.
But look at this, I think Hanoi Full Lewis.
Here comes the cavalry though.
Sensing the bottom lane focus from the Fat Rabbit.
I think Fat Rabbit's sensing this too.
Ooh, Shin doesn't manage to dodge away from the Tibbers, but is it just an elaborate bait? Flashing away from the flag and drag. D-Dan gets absolutely crushed against the wall. And the pause, nice charm to actually pull back Scary. Remember, no summoners available to Shin, but here comes the 5-0-0 LeBlanc. Violet a little too aggressive with his dive in. And the pause looking for another charm, a second rotation of spells perhaps.
Arab bot. All random, all bottom.
1 for 1.
That's one
good
trade.
for TFR.
Good for TFR. Who picks the kill there? It's going to be Ari that gets the kill there, so that's good for them. Maokai picks up a kill of his own. Rod of Ages, so he will be packing some damage into this game for sure. Not as tanky, but against a team comp like Fat Rabbits, he doesn't need to be super tanky because no matter what, they will deal damage anyway just because of the way their team comp works.
Oh, so I really want to get pick your mind on this. Why exactly was there all this bottom lane focus suddenly? I mean, everybody was just like, go bottom. What was the thinking behind it?
One, Dragon's up. Good time to force a fight bottom lane. Try and force a 4-on-2 for Full Lewis's side. If they can get that 4-on-2, pick a kill, that's a free Dragon for them and a free tower. I think Team Fat Rabbit thought of the same thing. Try to go for a bot lane attack, and when they did that, they were able to meet in the bottom lane. It would have been in favor of Hanoi Full Lewis because of D-Dan charging in, but it was a good play coming in from Panda Paws to get the charm off onto Janna.
Alright then, I think that, it's again due to the fact that 5-0-0 LeBlanc, the mid lane power so strong is, very, very likely when the Dragon respawns, you're going to go for that. You need to be able, you need to pre-position yourself, preempt that move down to the Dragon. Turned out it was only a 1 for 1, but it shows that TFR very much so, strategically still in this game, thinking ahead, how can we get the objectives, how can we take the little fights, what can they really do to claw themselves back into this game. As it is, they haven't really bled objectives other than the Dragon all too much, only one tower going down. Gold difference at 2,000, I would say, still recoverable from. It's not anything, game-breaking, nexus-shattering as of yet. And look at that, actually in the bottom, Shin dropping so fast that we didn't even manage to catch that on screen. Again, the strengths of TFR coming out. It's been the Annie stun, the Annie burst to start the fights off that have really created a lot of opportunities for TFR to find their way back into the game.
Let's see. Hanoi Full Lewis's team comp starting to make a lot of sense if you look at it. First up, Maokai's gonna...
Peshchap gets tagged right here. Where is the flash kickback from Calvin? Not gonna happen. Is this TP the right call though? I mean, Jokebot isolated from his entire team. Here comes the reply TP. Jokebot not even in Mega Gnar form. You gotta think that's gonna be a double kill picked up easy for the side of Hanoi Full Lewis. There it is. Oh man, you gotta feel.
But why?
Yeah, TFR just really not on the same page right there.
But why? That was a flash for your life turned into 2 kills for nothing. Now D-Dan's gonna die here.
Gary activating his ultimate as well to give his team the sustain they need to keep pushing on. Hanoi Full Lewis looking fearsome and formidable in the opening. Well, I say opening, but the game's been progressing so fast. The pace has been really set by Hanoi Full Lewis. We're 18 minutes in. It's only 2 towers down, but Hanoi Full Lewis really, really dictating the tempo of this game. And TFR look to be 1 step behind.
That's really a moment where you just turn to your team and go, "What? Why? You didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Did it anyway. Teleports can be cancelled. People can walk away. What? Stuff happened." Hanoi Full Lewis's team comp starting to make a lot of sense. Maokai's ultimate is going to reduce a lot of the AoE damage from Fat Rabbit. Lee Sin is able to jump to targets, kick them back into the team, knock them away from the priority targets too. King of War will be able to dart around Fat Rabbit's team comp. Will be able to dart around the AoE damage, execute someone, and it's good enough to chase down Panda Paws on Ari.
Yeah.
Shin, very mobile. Janna, good at protecting from AoE comps. Full Lewis team comp just looks like something they wanted to play against an all-in team comp. Didn't make sense to me before, but now it looks very solid.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna run a duo carry, you know, or just a 2 carry composition, it really helps, I think, when you have 1 carry 6-0 and 1.
Yeah,
because,
of course.
You know, it's really a math game when you talk about 2 carries being run on you. If you can trade 1 for 1, you know, with 4 carries on your side or 4 damage sources, then, you know, obviously you win that math game. But when it takes, you know, all 4, maybe even 5 members to try and control 1 carry, suddenly the equation is flipped on its head, right? There's way too many resources that are being dumped into 1 carry to try and take them out, and that frees up the rest of the team to do their thing. Right, a bit of a tense moment here as Hanoi Full Lewis
Crazy minus stun
with the LeBlanc on the side, looking for an opening, not gonna find it, respecting the Meganar form of Jokebot. So there you have it, TFR grouping up 5 men strong, say, we're gonna fight back a little bit, you can't push us around all too much. TFR find their way onto the objective scoreboard with 1 tower. Not able to really extend their vision coverage though. Arm goes wide. TFR, you have to feel, playing with their backs against the wall somewhat. You can see on the top side of the jungle, as well as even the bottom side, good wards from Hanoi Full Lewis, allowing them to take a confident stroll into the enemy jungle, poke their head in, poke their head here and there, get the last tier 1. Now gonna take the Scuttle Crab as well in the bottom side. What is the call from TFR then? It seems that 5 men strong, HFL shows a little more respect. Are they showing too much respect? What's going on?
I don't think they're showing too much respect. You can't just jump into this Fat Rabbit team. You really do. You still need to pick off some of their key members. You need to get somebody in a sticky situation. You can't expect King of Wars to dart into the back line, take a nod to the face, an anti-stun, and a Pest Chat ultimate. He will die, no matter how far ahead he is. Just remember that. Although King of War is 6-0-1, he has no defensive items.
Yeah, I mean...
So it's still easy to kill him. It's just that it's easier for him to kill people too.
Very, very true. Nicely...
Glass cannon.
Very concisely put. The glass cannon coming in from LeBlanc. King of War saying, DFG, don't even remember that item. Goes for Rabadon, second item, not even going for the Zhonya's. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds, you don't have to feel fish that if anything, the composition of TFR will want to fight in these, you know, these set pieces where they can more or less guesstimate the positioning of the enemy and then lock them all down with their AoE.
So far though, it's been D-Dan jumping into the fight and dying. It's not good. Panda Paws now taking a lot of damage in the mid lane.
Ooh, King of War doesn't have his spells up yet. Gets 1 distortion out. I think they rightly know that's the clone, but oh, it's just the ring around, really. Hanoi Full Lewis will be able to pick up the second dragon for themselves.
Still, only the second dragon.
Yeah, I thought it was the third, but remember, D-Dan had that fantastic steal, actually, taking that one out from under the noses of Hanoi Full Lewis.
Something which a lot of players forget is that now Dragon doesn't give that global gold. So it's not worth fighting over those early dragons unless you're very sure you can steal it or contest it. Because it doesn't give your team that much of an edge. 6% attack damage and ability power is not much. People forgo the Havoc Mastery because of that. They don't want that extra percentage of damage and ability power. They don't find it worth it to pick it up. It only comes into effect late game. The tower destruction, yes, will help with pushing, will help with siege comps, so will the minion damage. But the key one is the movement speed and also the 5th dragon. Until then, you don't need to throw 5 members at the other team and hopefully you try and hopefully that you get a steal and a kill out of it. Because if you lose 4 members of that dragon pit, that is worse than just giving up the dragon.
That's like global gold.
Global gold.
Which Dragon's not supposed to give the enemy team. So, Hanoi Full Lewis. I have to say, whether it's the shot calling on the side of TFR or just the way that Hanoi Full Lewis has been applying pressure, the teleports from Jokebot have been expended in a suboptimal fashion. Really not finding any kind of openings to open or initiate any kind of fight or pick off with the Gnar, even in Mega form. And Hanoi Full Lewis get that summoner spell pretty much for free this time around. TFR, to their credit, have managed to get a few wards in the top side. That is good signs for them. The bleeding, though, you have to say, has actually increased. Now it's about a 4,000 gold lead that they're dealing with.
Locket of Iron Solari picked up by Lee Sin here. Very nice pick of Hanoi Full Lewis. Fat Rabbit need 2 items. They need Mikhail's Crucible to stop the burst coming in for King of War. Once King of War puts down 2 spells, Mikhail's Crucible, get back to about half. You'll stay about there. They need a lock of the Iron Solari too to negate that burst damage. If they can negate that early damage and stop the assassination potential, they could stay alive in this fight. Gonna be tough though.
Yeah, and taking a look at some of the scores now on the players, I really have to say, Peshchap, for the amount of focus that was bot lane, even from, level 2 from Lee Sin, he's done a fantastic job keeping himself in this game, and he's gonna be, really, really huge in terms of the consistent damage. Now that, whoa!
Crazy Pine!
Man.
Mic drop. King of War's like, I'm out, peace.
Yeah, that's not really a nice feeling coming in from Crazy Pine. Second time he's been styled on, you could say, by King of War, who is looking to maintain that clean sheet, 6-0-1. But yeah, now that Ari really hasn't been having a fantastic game, the consistent damage really will be coming in from Peshchap, and he's done a fantastic job keeping himself in the game, keeping himself relevant. Ooh, Calvin here on a bit of a roam, got his Moby boots to rocket himself through the enemy territory. Very, very sparse ward coverage coming out from the Fat Rabbits, even within their own jungle. Here they are, backed against their tier 2, which is, below 50% HP. There's the artillery coming in from Shin. Doesn't do all too much, but TFR, they have to decide, do they go in on this? They can't, or rather, they do not have vision on King of War as well as Calvin. I don't think they want to activate the fight before they can get vision on that oh-so-fed LeBlanc.
Nara form available for TFR. Stop them from pushing in for a while. LeBlanc is going to show herself up top lane to try and get that wave pushing in for Hanoi for Lewis. Normally that is go time for a team, but I don't think Fat Rabbit are in position to try and force a fight here, especially Annie no stun mid lane. They're going aggressive, but nobody there to kill.
Pretty easy for Hanoi for Lewis to get away with these rotations as well. Just mentioned the sparse ward coverage coming in from TFR within their own jungle. So it's dangerous, even when you don't see the LeBlanc to face check into the Fog of War. After all, the 6-0 LeBlanc is not going to just shake your hand, she's going to be blowing your face off. So TFR really, really limited in their options. They couldn't have made that rotation into the dark up top side, and Hanoi for Lewis didn't give them the opening to charge at them in the mid lane. That means more free farm in the pockets of King of War, and now Shin himself, out of nowhere, I have to say, I wasn't keeping track of this, jumps up to a 30 CS lead due to the fact that Peshchap, he's been having to use his abilities in the mid lane to wave clear. Might be for naught, as this tower is about to go down nevertheless.
Let's see. Fat Rabbit, they are 5,000 gold, you would say. We're 5,000 gold behind Lewis right now. Lewis have 2 major threats.
Big backs coming in from Hanoi for Lewis. I think they want to refresh their wards most likely.
So here's the problem with Fat Rabbit right now. They have this very nice and beautiful team fighting comp. They can't force any fights though because they fell behind early. They could never force fights at objectives when they needed to. Hanoi for Lewis is abusing that right now. They have great individual champions. Lucy can pair it with Janna very nicely.
Yeah.
LeBlanc is going her own. Lee Sin can pair it with Maokai nicely. They can push and split as much as they want. And whenever Team Fat Rabbit sends somebody to fight them or respond to that threat, they weaken their team comp significantly because they're only strong as 5.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely something that it's such a great way to break apart these, really fearsome team compositions where it's like, well, if it scares you just to look at all 5 of them, make sure you're not fighting all 5 of them. And look at this, it's literally Root in the jungle just saying, hey guys, I'm here. TFR are so hungry for the catch, they focus 5 members around the area, and that opened up the dragon for free. That is dragon number 3, the movement speed for Hanoi for Lewis. And King of War split up with the team. TFR really, really hungry for the engage. Not able to find it. Oh, they do have the positioning on to Hanoi for Lewis though.
Not for long though. LeBlanc's gonna come back soon. Jokebot's at half health. Yes, he'll be Naganar soon, but still,
Oh,
Hanoi
Kelvin
Fluids
may
have
be
the
able to get a
wraparound.
big kick here. I think that TFR needs to evacuate. There's the Mega Gnar form.
Will they be able to
Thankfully
evacuate?
for them, King of War actually backed to base and didn't loop around from top side. Once again, Hanoi Fluids showing the discipline and control. Don't need to activate anything. Just zone them off tier 2. Minions, Winions. Oh, you could look at that. Shin jumped on immediately. Scary pushes the reset button, buying enough time for Shin to get out. LeBlanc, King of War. Now he joins the fight. Where is the action? Peshchat manages to pick one off. They're fighting with the tier 2 on their backs. Able to do a good job trading 1-for-1 so far. Fantastic job by TFR to find the AD carry, pick him off. And again, these 1-for-1s, you have to say, favor TFR.
LeBlanc though, King of War.
Uh-oh. Oh, joke bot.
Little Yordle.
Oof. Yikes.
He drew the Ignite. Jokebot did a good job.
Big plays.
Big plays, Ignite down. Ignite down,
Sense
LeBlanc
no
useless.
bias from this previous student of Jokebot. Not 1% of bias.
No. He drew the Ignite. It's worth. Almost died, but worth. Almost feed the LeBlanc more. 7-0-1 now. Good trade for them. They were able to get a kill onto Peshchat and get LeBlanc one more kill. Good trade for them because they only lost Crazy
That's
right
right
there.
And something interesting I'm looking at in the inventories now is that it seems like Scary wants to go for a Locket of the Iron Solari himself, rather than say the likes of the... Oh, he's not actually going for the Talisman. He's been building the Frost Queen's Claim. But, you know, interesting that they would go for the double Locket, and I think this really shows how well prepared Hanoi Fluids are from the draft phase to carry out this dual carry composition. You know, survive the initial burst, maybe use one Locket for the engage. Oh, King of War drops a half HP actually to make that 130 HP. D-Dan, though, might just be dropped to the grave. Thankfully, LeBlanc passive doesn't actually do any damage, but D-Dan...
Unless it's just the buff. In random situations, when the LeBlanc clone dies after it throws an auto attack, it deals damage.
Yeah.
It has to throw the auto attack and die. That's how it does damage.
Wow. Just one of those like 0.00001% chance.
It happens. It stole a blue buff.
Yeah.
The LeBlanc clone stole a blue buff. That's a very sad state.
It's like the
think about it.
Yeah.
D-Dan has Iron Solari right now, and LeBlanc can hundreds of nothing him.
Yeah. On the other hand, I would say D-Dan, if he can sacrifice himself, you know, for the 701,
teleport.
That would be big. But look at this, Hanoi Fluids flexing their muscles full on. Oh, this is a good place for them to lock in Hanoi Fluids though. Baron already secured. Peshchat hiding around the back. King of War dancing around, uses his distortion out, doesn't want to get caught out, but Shin finding the engines, rushing towards TFR now. He's got his entire team on his back. They're all charging towards Crazy Pine. That Annie wants to go home, wants to head back to the cottage. I don't think she's going to make it. There you go. Taken down. Hanoi Fluids used the Baron to draw in TFR. Might have been a bit more devastating if everybody had piled in at the same time, but Tenpos a little too far behind. And Hanoi Fluids, you have to say, just a little too far ahead.
That's just Fat Rabbit caught with their pants down right there. They're not in position to respond to that dragon. No wards nearby for a teleport. Good teleport coming up to Jokebot. No steal attempt, and the Fox wasn't there. Good play coming in from Hanoi Fluids. They were able to force that while Fat Rabbit were not there to respond. Force it while Fat Rabbit could do absolutely nothing about it but give away more objectives, which is exactly what Hanoi wanted Fat Rabbit to do, and Fat Rabbit gave them that. They came in for the fight in a sticky situation and just gave them 4 kills, and after the 4 kills, lost 2 towers and inhibitor.
Yeah, and I think you described the situation right in terms of you know, the pants being down on the side of TFR, because we said Dragon Pit, Baron Pit, you know, those places where the enemy team is going to be bunched up. You've got that opportunity to really crush them. And you know, King of War was dropped down to half HP. He actually backed out of the fight. So Hanoi Fluids, the fact that they were able to take TFR pretty much about that 7-0, you know, now 3 LeBlanc, just shows TFR really weren't on the same page, weren't ready to clamp onto that Baron.
Not at all. King of War here with the LeBlanc pickup,
and the pause. Really got to be careful. Yes, you can charm somebody, but without the rest of your team there, gotta really be careful. Expending his ultimate as well. Shin just wants to get Panda Paws off the tower. TFR once again scrambling to find positioning.
Headshot.
Oh, Calvin. My goodness.
There he goes. Bye-bye.
Ooh.
Headshot managed to get away from that one.
Headshot had to burn both summoners though, and that means positioning onto the inhibitor turret. Jokebot.
Fly.
Oh, the most tanky member on the side of TFR. Double kill picked up for King of War. A fantastic showing for himself when he showed up in the mid lane. That is indeed mid-game. 5 members strong of Hanoi Full Lewis, glowing bright and purple. Charms flying on target for Panda Paws. But really, the only destruction that's being rained down is on the side of Hanoi Full Lewis. The flash root coming out from the root of Violet right there. Locks down one more kill for his team. Shin even dashing into the fountain.
Well played by Hanoi Full Lewis. They were able to pick apart this huge initiation team comp that Fat Rabbits drafted. They were able to completely deconstruct it, get that early game advantage, get the LeBlanc rolling, and stop Fat Rabbits from ever having a good team fight in the early game. Then they became way too strong for Fat Rabbit to fight 5-on-5 and forced it at the Baron Pit. Right from there onwards, it was game on over to Hanoi Full Lewis. They had a great strategy, executed it well.
That's right. And you know what really stood out for me, even though people will look at the 9-0-4 LeBlanc, Calvin to me, really stood out. I mean,
yeah, that early game